And I'm going to touch on this because it's a cool segue. And now you could let me know, but is that why, at least for yourself, or from what I've heard through the grapevine and maybe some of your posts, some videos as well that have been posted on YouTube, where you don't necessarily go by a set split, but you have these exercises that, or this amount of volume, or this amount of, how you're going to structure your effort throughout the week. This is what I need to do throughout the week. And it doesn't really matter where I place it. I'm going based on my biofeedback. Hey, how am I feeling? How is this joint doing? How's that joint doing? Is that
Yeah.
accurate?
Yeah. And I can expand on that so people get a better
Please,
understanding of it.
please
Because
do.
like when I write a bodybuilding program, it will result in a mesocycle that we then try on for size. And it's not that I'm dismissing a lot of the principles that led to the creation of body part splits. It's that I'm thinking about them with a little fewer limitations. So, a very beneficial aspect of having a body part split is that, let's say you've got a upper lower legs push pull training 5 days a week. I think it's a pretty common like intermediate approach. And the reason why you've got upper, then lower, and then a day off, and then legs push pull is it gives you space between your lower body sessions, and it gives you space between training the pushing and the pulling musculature. And this is thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to do a fair amount of volume. I'm going to train close to failure because that's what hypertrophy training is the hallmark of. And that's going to induce muscle damage. So I want to be recovered so that I can have effective performance the next time and stimulate it again. I still consider that. So it's not that I'm going, you know what, who cares about recovery? I'm just going to take my volume and just split it up over these 5 days. It's more so that I'm thinking about, well, what do I really need that much recovery on a lateral raise? I'm training at a short muscle length. Even when I go close to failure, I can still use about 3/4 that range of motion. It doesn't produce a lot of damage. I also tend to recover quickly in my upper body. So is there really an issue with on my leg day, I also do some lateral raises? No, but that takes a greater level of knowledge and experience and to set up a split, which is kind of quote unquote foolproof. Not to say that you're a fool for using a split like that. Same kind of thing as if you understand that you have specific body parts that seem to need a whole lot more volume or a lot more stimulus to grow effectively, well, how do you get that in a body part split? Well, one option is just to make those marathon sessions. The problem with that is those sessions where you really need to maintain your focus and effort to make your stubborn body parts grow become more and more mentally challenging and fatiguing. So that sometimes runs out of steam. If you've got let's say, and this is a great example of people who've tried to grow their legs, right? Trying to overcome stubborn legs that don't grow at the same rate as everything else and that need more volume and more effort, when you're limited to training them only once or twice a week, is a very challenging proposition. You can do it, but you start looking like a blood and guts video. You start
Mm.
looking like one of these, like you really have to crush yourself, and that's one option. But another option is to put forth a modicum of effort on 3 or 4 days per week, or to even dial back the volume and intensity and the total dose on the upper body to give yourself more recovery resources and mental fortitude to bring to those leg sessions. So basically, the way I do it is I work backwards from thinking about the volume requirement. This is the number of sets I want to do. These are the exercises I want to do or have access to. And how do I want to get them in? And I start to just plug and piece. Plug and play and piecing them together over the course of the week. And I have to make certain decisions like, all right, well, I want to train my hamstrings. I want to do both RDLs and hamstring curls. I can do them in the same session. But I've also got do deadlifts somewhere or squats, or let's say I got to do something prior and I think that'll be a little too much for the same day. Well, I can do the hamstring curls in relatively close proximity before the RDLs, but I wouldn't want to do the other way around because I'll have fatigue lingering going into that. Okay, and I also wouldn't want to do the RDLs within a day of squatting, so because my glutes will be too beat up and my lower back will be too beat up. All right, so I need to put that there. So it ends up being this kind of process of putting the exercises there and shifting things around. And sometimes what comes out does look like a split. It'll be kind of upper lowery. But more often than not, what'll come from that process is like an upper lower with an upper plus calves, or an upper lower with a lower plus lateral raises type of thing. And this is why I have been described as, oh, Eric trains full body. But it's not really the case when I'm doing bodybuilding training, because you might find a quote unquote full body day where I don't train a muscle group at all. The only lower body training might be a calf raise or a hamstring curl, or I don't hit my my biceps at all, or something like that. So it is more aptly described, in my opinion, as not having the restrictions of a split, but still trying to get the benefits from it, while not being limited by the way a split typically can limit you, which is by saying, look, you have to only train your legs on the leg day, and we're only going to train the legs, once or twice a week. Because really, anytime you start training a body part more than twice a week, it stops looking like a split. Like you can do like a 6-day, upper lower, where you got 3 uppers and 3 lowers, but that's really the only option. After that, you start having to have other body parts on a session day. And what do you call it if it's not full body? We don't really have the language for it. Full body implies you're training everything. Upper implies you're only training upper body. But I don't know what an upper body day plus calves is. It's probably upper plus calves, I guess. So I think hopefully that helps better describe the way I typically think about hypertrophy training.